Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us as we start Connect, and we're kicking off our first workshop with Adam. We're going to be starting shortly. So in the thing, we've also sent a link to access live translations if you need any automatic translations to any other languages, along with captions in the chat. You're also able to scan the QR code on your screen right now. We'll be doing Q&As at the end of the workshop, so please leave your questions in the chat or fill out our form that is listed in the banner. During the workshop, we'll also have 2 live challenges where you'll be able to have a chance to win a $30 US gift card through GoGift. So 1 gift card will be drawn for each challenge among the correct answers. So don't forget to scan the QR code that pops up on the screen when it appears, and winners will be announced after all of the Connect 2023 workshops are completed. So now I will hand it off to Adam, and feel free to start. Take it away.
All right. Thank you, KP. I appreciate it. So first of all, I just wanted to thank all of the organizers at Connect 2023. I'm so happy that I was invited back to give another workshop. Did one of these last year, and it was a lot of fun. And I'm really excited about this event. So who am I? I'm Adam Capps. I'm also known as ArchAnemone on the Roblox platform. I'm a team leader on the developer relations team. And I work with an awesome team called Developer Excellence within Dev Relations that really helps developers capitalize on the organic success that they achieve on the platform. My background is as a game director. I've got a few decades in the game industry. I've worked on a number of platforms, AAA, mobile free-to-play, but most importantly on Roblox. So I've developed some content on Roblox as well. So what I'm going to focus on for this workshop, firstly, I'm going to talk about what Roblox is. I'm going to give you an overview. But more importantly, I want to talk about what opportunities Roblox presents to developers and what type of developers can take advantage of those opportunities. So I will just jump right in. So we'll start with Roblox. So what is Roblox? I like to define it as a massive, highly social UGC platform. So let's drill into that. So first of all, what do I mean by massive? So Roblox has about 66 million daily active users, DAU, every day. That's 66 million people are playing Roblox every day. Those are pretty big numbers. And so this brings us to the first question, actually. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So I get to ask questions. And like KP said, there's some gifts drawn amongst the correct answers. Okay, so I'll go ahead and ask my first question. So in 2022, how many hours did users spend in Roblox experiences? So out of those 66 million DAUs, how many hours were clocked in 2022? The first answer is 556 million. The second answer is 11.8 billion. And the third answer is 5.2 billion. So I'll pause for about 15 seconds. Drink my coffee, and I guess we'll announce the answers. Oh yeah, and you can scan the QR code to answer. All right, is that about enough time, KP?
Let's give it maybe 10 more seconds, and then we can let them know the answer and move on.
Cool. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. So the answer is 11.8 billion hours. So I want to point that out because that means that those 66 million users every day are spending a lot of time on Roblox. They are highly engaged players. And that's how we clock so many hours on the Roblox platform. Why is this? Why are they spending so much time? We see much higher session lengths on Roblox than on other platforms, as well as more sessions per day typically for most games. This is because Roblox is inherently a multiplayer platform. It's very easy to create multiplayer content on the platform, and this makes Roblox a highly social platform. The content is incredibly immersive, so a lot of players are coming to play, but they're also coming to socialize. They're coming to hang out on Roblox, so they spend a lot of time on the platform. They even multitask and kind of hang out in Roblox while they're doing other things, just because they're hanging out with friends. The Roblox avatar is something. It's a player's representation of themselves on the platform, and players spend a lot of time, tweaking out their avatar and making it just right, making it a reflection of them on the platform. In fact, 50% update the avatar once a month. So there's a lot of time spent doing that as well on Roblox. So this 66 million DAU is also cross-platform. So playtime is happening across many devices. 72% of playtime is on mobile, 3% is on console, 25% is on desktop. And the reason I say playtime and not users on these different devices is because users are jumping back and forth between these different platforms as they play. That's kind of how players play content now and how they consume content. And luckily, Roblox is multi-device on publish, so we make it very easy for you to be able to do that when you develop content on the platform. So this 66 million DAU is also global. In fact, 2/3 of monthly active users are non-US and Canadian players, so not from North America. These are players in South America. These are players in Asia, Australia, Europe. So it's all around the globe. Roblox is also a very uniquely diverse audience. So it's actually 50% female. In fact, some of the biggest experiences on the platform are actually predominantly female. And this is just one way Roblox is a very diverse player base, has a very diverse player base. So let's move on to social. This is incredibly important on Roblox and how it drives organic traffic. So Roblox is a highly social platform. Friends are playing together. Friends even help onboard players to new content. That first-time user experience is often bolstered by friends, like pulling other friends into content. User acquisition is driven organically by friend activity. They want to play their favorite content. They want to enjoy their favorite content with their friends, so they pull their friends into those experiences. And like I said, friends are just coming to hang out. So games can clock a lot of play time and have a lot of concurrent players because there's so much socializing as well as play happening within experiences on the platform. One reason the Roblox is so social is because it's a very low friction platform. And so what do I mean by that? It's really easy to jump from one experience to another within Roblox. So it's kind of like switching channels. Just there's very little friction. You're not contained within an actual app. These games aren't contained within an app. They're not even siloed, actually. And what I mean by that is you can actually jump from one experience to a completely different experience made by a completely different developer by walking through a literal door in one game. I'm unaware of any other platform that allows for that. So there are friend groups that move from one experience to another experience together. And so this just drives a lot of social organic traffic for a lot of these games. And what does this lead to? This leads to scale for Roblox developers. So there are dozens of experiences on Roblox that have 1 billion plus plays. There are thousands with 1 million plus plays. And there are games that regularly drive 500,000 concurrent players at the same time. That's 500,000 people playing the game at the same time. And this puts Roblox experiences up with some of the biggest games in the industry, in the game industry. So there's a lot of scale on Roblox. And like I said, most of this traffic is achieved organically, which I will talk about a little bit more later. So thirdly, Roblox is a UGC platform. It's player created. So UGC is user-generated content. Roblox has made it incredibly easy to build and, more importantly, deploy content to this 66 million DAU audience. And I think it's one of the only platforms where players can truly become creators because we've just made creation so easy on Roblox. One way we've done this is through Roblox Studio. We have a fully featured game engine that you build content and deploy it to the platform. It's fully integrated. I'm going to talk a little bit more about Roblox Studio later, but it's one thing that really enables this creation. Going back to user-created content, there have been 29 million plus user-generated experiences published to Roblox. So I think this points out how easy we've made creation. So these aren't all games. So this doesn't mean that Roblox is a highly saturated platform. These are mostly hangout spaces. These are first-time creations. These are little experiments. A 13-year-old can literally build a birthday party space, publish it to the platform, and invite their friends to play. It would be almost impossible to do that on a platform like mobile free-to-play. Just getting content in front of players is just too hard on those platforms. It's incredibly, incredibly easy on Roblox. Now, when we talk about actual games, there are thousands of sustainable retaining experiences on the platform. So again, it's not an oversaturated market when it comes to this type of content. And in fact, this is Frontlines on Roblox. So the same engine that a 13-year-old can build a little birthday party space can also be used to make what you're seeing right now, which is a high quality first-person shooter. So it's an incredibly flexible engine that allows for a very broad audience to create content and publish content and get actual players to play the content. Okay, so I was actually gonna pause here for questions, but the opportunity section, which is a little bit longer than the kind of what is Roblox section, I think I'm gonna answer a lot of those questions here. So I'm gonna wait, I'm gonna hold questions until the very end, and then we can get into it. So what are the opportunities that Roblox offers to developers, and what developers can best take advantage of those opportunities? So for me, as a developer myself, Roblox has an incredibly low barrier to entry. This is incredibly helpful. You can publish very quickly on Roblox, and you can also achieve organic success versus pay for every player you acquire into your content. So let's first talk about low barrier to entry. It's incredibly cheap to develop content on Roblox, very low cost. There's also a very short time to market. You can bring products to this audience very, very quickly on Roblox. This goes back to Roblox Studio. So this is one of the big reasons. Roblox Studio, that full-featured game engine, it's fully integrated into the platform. And I'm going to talk about the benefits of integration in this section a little bit more. It's also 100% free. So the tools are free to develop on it. No matter how much scale you achieve on Roblox, the tools are always free. Roblox also offers out-of-the-box multiplayer. So by default, content on Roblox is multiplayer. So it's very, very easy to create immersive, highly social content very quickly. Multiplayer is very difficult on other platforms, but it's out of the box on Roblox. Roblox supports 200-person servers. Usually you're looking at 50 to 60-person servers, depending on how lightweight the assets in your game are. But Roblox does support 200-person servers, and we're constantly working to allow for more and more players to be in the exact same experience at the same time. Roblox also offers basic matchmaking. So these are just all things you don't have to worry about as a developer. You don't have to write netcode. You don't have to spin up servers. And one other big benefit is that Roblox scales this service as your game scales for free. So if you have a huge organic success on the platform, you don't have to worry about incurring all these server costs. You don't have to worry about your game holding up with all this additional traffic. Roblox takes care of that for you. So you can really just focus on developing content and developing more features and scaling your content and getting more users into your experience. So not only do you play together on Roblox, you can also develop together. So this is really cool. This was really cool for me when I first started developing on the platform with a small team. Team Create allows developers to literally be in the same development environment together. You can see your co-developers like working within the scene. Yeah, this is just a really cool way to collaborate, especially with a small team. Now, larger teams tend to use more traditional methods of collaboration when developing content. But one really cool thing Roblox is doing is we want to open up Roblox to allow developers to use any tool chain that they want to. So however you want to develop, we want you to be able to develop that way on Roblox, whether you use Team Create or a tool chain that you're already accustomed to. So here are just some more ways that Roblox is reducing time to market, allowing you to bring content to all of these players very quickly. So like I said, Roblox is a global platform. We're all around the world. 2/3 of the audience is global. So we want to enable high quality, free automatic translations. So you can easily translate text strings within your game to make it easier to play in different countries. And we're also working at geo-compliance to make sure that you, as a developer, do not have to worry about if your content is okay to be in a different geo. So we want to take that burden away from developers, so you can focus on the creative aspects of game development and not have to worry about all of these little things with making your content compliant or translating text strings. Generative AI. Obviously, we're looking into AI. Here's an example of the AI texture generator beta. So you're just entering some text here, and that text is being used to generate a high quality tileable texture on a mesh. And this allows for developers to fill immersive worlds with truly unique content. And since Roblox is so immersive and so social, the experiences on Roblox tend to be pretty big. And filling those large immersive worlds with content is incredibly burdensome when you're a small team. And so we want to make that as easy as possible. And again, these tools will be fully integrated into the platform. So you don't have to do a lot of work to bring these tool chains into your platform, into the platform. They will already be there, and you can use them very easily. So I expect to see a lot more of this moving forward, and many more ways for developers to save a lot of time when they're making content on Roblox. Okay, so question number 2, we're going to talk about publishing to the platform. So what is the average turnaround time to publish content on Roblox? So when you're finished with your game and you're ready to deploy it to an audience, and you hit that publish button, how long does it typically take? So is the answer 3 days? Is the answer 2 hours? Or is the answer 30 seconds? I will pause to let answers come. I feel like we need some question music, some Jeopardy music right here. All right, what do you think, KP?
We're good to go.
Good to go. All right. This is a rough estimate, but it's around 30 seconds. It takes seconds to publish content to Roblox when you're ready to publish. So again, I changed the section now. So publish in seconds. I realized I was giving away the answer previously, so I had to change my slides. This is huge for a developer, especially an indie developer. You can move fast. You can break stuff. You can iterate. So let's talk about that. Like I said, you deploy content in seconds. How do we do this, right? On other platforms, you have to wait sometimes a week to 2 weeks for the platform to turn around and approve your app. This is just not the case on Roblox. It happens instantly. And this is because Roblox Studio is fully integrated into the platform. And this is where that integration really pays off. So Roblox does something very cool. We dynamically moderate content as you develop. So all of that approval, that entire process is spread out during the development process. So by the time you're ready to hit publish, you're just live in seconds. And what this really means for developers is just freedom. It's freedom to iterate. You have the freedom on Roblox to try stuff, to break stuff. You can fail very quickly and you can iterate success. So I have a lot of ideas as a developer that I want to get in front of actual players. And they all sound great in my head, but until I see how players respond, until I talk to them, I ask them how they're enjoying the feature or the designs that I'm putting in front of them. And I look at the data to really look at how the players are performing in that content, how my content is performing. I can't know if it's going to be really successful. Games are hard, and it's hard to determine what's really going to be a hit. You want to take a lot of shots on goal. And that's what Roblox allows you to do, because you can just publish in seconds. You can publish 10 times a day. So whether it be a new game concept or a feature in an existing game, it's very easy to roll stuff out. Q&A doesn't have to be as rigorous, because if you break something, you can just fix it. Players will tell you, and you can roll back changes. And so what this has really led to on Roblox is developing is kind of like a conversation with players. This is how it felt to me when I started developing on the platform. I was literally having a conversation with players about how they like the features I was rolling out to them. And then I was looking at the data to see how players were actually performing in that content. Players would tell me about bugs they were experiencing, and I could fix them in minutes, not days or weeks, because I didn't have to wait a really long time to turn around another build. And this really reduced risk for me. It really reduced stress, because I knew not so much was riding on each time I published, because I could publish all the time. And so this is a huge benefit, especially for indies who are really into R&D, who have a lot of ideas and they want to get content in front of players incredibly quickly. And so the last thing I want to talk about is organic success. This is a really big part of what makes Roblox an excellent opportunity. You can truly achieve organic success on the platform. In fact, this is the vast majority of how games get traction on the platform. So it's all about tapping social. So the developers who truly understand the social nature of Roblox can tap into that social nature and scale content incredibly quickly. You see games scale very fast on Roblox because of the social dynamics that exist on the platform. And what this has led to is almost zero cost for user acquisition. And the way I look at user acquisition, paid versus organic, is paid UA platforms, or platforms that are highly indexed with paid UA. They're high risk. And the reason they're high risk is because you have to pay a premium to acquire every one of those users that are going to play your game. And what that means is you have to make sure that you're going to make your money back once those players enter your game. You have to retain them. You have to monetize them, because if you don't, you don't make any money. You fail. So this creates a lot of risk, and the cost to acquire users initially can be very high on other platforms. Organic user acquisition is much lower risk, because you simply don't have to pay for the users that are being driven into your experience. So we got to talk about monetization, because success, having a lot of users is great, but if you're unable to monetize, you can't reinvest in your content. You can't make new content, and that's what I want to do as a developer. I just want to keep making more games, and so monetization is critical to that. So just breaking down monetization on Roblox, how most of it works. So in-app purchasing is definitely the primary driver of monetization for developers. IAP. But Roblox also offers engagement-based payouts. So Roblox just pays for traffic in developers' content. In fact, 16% of revenue in 2021 was engagement-based. And for some of the larger games that have a lot of traffic, engagement-based payouts can be very meaningful, a very meaningful chunk of the total revenue opportunity for these developers. The avatar is a big revenue driver. So players want to customize their avatar. They want to buy avatar items to really make their avatar look awesome. We already allow developers to kind of tap into this market by selling avatar items within their experience, but we also want to open up the avatar catalog to allow developers to create avatar items themed for their content and sell them within their experiences as well. So we're going to be doing a lot more of that moving forward. Paid access is still an option on Roblox. It makes up a very small percentage of games on the platform, but there are some big games that actually started off as paid access or are still paid access today. So it is an option if you want to take a look at that. Also, top brands and studios are very, very interested in Roblox right now. And some game teams have really been able to tap in to working with these top brands and studios to create additional revenue streams. So these are all ways that developers are monetizing on the platform. So there are a lot of options. And what this really leads to is truly meaningful revenue for many developers. So Roblox developers earned 538 million in 2021. And the real evidence of this is that there are multiple 50 plus person dev teams currently operating on the platform. There's even a 100 person dev team currently operating on the platform. And I think this is a real sign of meaningful revenue, because you just can't scale and maintain a team of that size without seeing that meaningful revenue with your content. And it's truly a platform where indie developers can actually sustain. So like I said, since you don't have to pay a premium to acquire users, you can create incremental success with multiple small games. You can build up a catalog of games and continue to develop, continue to put ideas in front of players, and continue to sustain on the platform, because you don't have to incur those really high user acquisition costs. So I want to leave a lot of time for questions and discussions. So I just want to wrap up here by talking about who can take advantage of the opportunities that are on Roblox. And truly, any developer can find opportunity on Roblox. It's a really dynamic platform that offers a lot of advantages. But for me, I'm a little biased as an indie game dev myself. I think professional indie developers should definitely take a look at Roblox, especially indie developers who are operating on other platforms. It's a really, really interesting space. There's a lot of opportunity here. And I think the way Roblox is set up, it works very well for kind of that indie developer mindset, especially when you want to get content and get a lot of ideas in front of players very quickly. Small to mid-sized game teams, can see a lot of opportunity on Roblox. This is an excellent platform for first-time developers. If you've never developed immersive social content before, this is a great place to start. Like I said, Roblox removes a lot of the risk and also a lot of the burdens that come with developing content and deploying it and getting actual players into your content. So I would definitely recommend Roblox for first-time developers and students, and anyone with free-to-play platform experience. Once you understand the differences on Roblox, it is essentially a free-to-play platform. So I've leveraged my experience a lot from the free-to-play space to help me understand what's happening on Roblox and the signals that I'm seeing. So I would really recommend that anyone with free-to-play experience take a look at Roblox, especially if you're really tired of the user acquisition markets on these other platforms. So yeah, that's what I have, and I'd like to open it up for questions and discussions. This is always my favorite part. So I believe the team will help me coordinate questions.
Yes, we actually already have some questions that rolled in throughout your workshop. But for anyone that has any other questions, feel free to add it on the form. So our first question is from Francisco Moda 1444. Hopefully I got all the fours. What is core of the imagination to you?
What? Sorry, say the question again.
What is the core of the imagination to you?
The core of the imagination?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I think I understand the question. Would this be just kind of like as a game developer, or what do I kind of think about imagination?
I think interpretation is up to you.
Okay, cool. This is an interesting question, Francisco. I think imagination is great. I love it. It's wild. It's unconstrained. I think creativity comes from really a wrangling imagination, and using those imaginative ideas to create a successful product, right? So whenever you're trying to create anything, whether it be just an artwork or a game, it's a product, right? You're trying to share it, and you're trying to have a conversation with a viewer or a user or a player. And so I think you need to use your imagination, but wrangle that imagination into the creative process. And creation and the creative process for me is really about understanding what your audience is looking for, what your audience wants. It's about understanding the markets that exist for art and creative work. That's kind of how I generally think about it. So I think imagination and creativity are very different, even though imagination, I think, fuels creativity. Creativity is when you really start to consider all of these other aspects and you start to problem solve, right? You start to take your imagination in these great ideas and you kind of fit them into a mold that works really well to share and have a conversation with a user or a player or a viewer. I don't know. I hope that was a sufficient answer to the question.
Awesome. All right, so next question is from theylove_Rennie. What inspired you to become a creator?
I always knew I wanted to be an artist. So I'm actually an artist. I'm an illustrator. I was a concept artist for a long time. And so I came to games through art. But then I got into designing. I got into UI and UX, which I found really interesting. And now I kind of do every different aspect of game development, other than I'm not a very good coder. I write a little bit of script, but that's it. So I think I always knew I wanted to do that. I drew since I was very little. And I just love games because, like I said, I get to take that kind of creative side of myself and really use it to solve problems for players. Like, I have this cool idea, but I just can't get players through the first time user experience, and I need to create better UX. And while that doesn't sound like that artistic or that creative, it actually is. Like, you're really trying to communicate to a player. You're trying to communicate to someone to say, like, okay, well, press all these buttons and this really cool thing's going to happen. And I need to make that intuitive. I need to make it obvious for a player. And so I just have to use a lot of that kind of creativity to make successful games. And so that's what I really like about games. But honestly, like, I didn't think I was going to be in games. I wanted to be a painter, actually, or just kind of an illustrator. But that's how I eventually came to the game space.
And then I know you just mentioned that you have a little bit of programming skill set, but Bruno X Crafter 717 asked, is Roblox Studio Code easy?
I find it easy. I find Lua easier than most uh, scripting languages I've looked at. Again, I'm not an engineer, but Roblox, I can do more in Roblox than I'm able to on other platforms. I will say that. My mind is not wired to code. My mind is wired to draw pictures, but I'm able to do a little bit of it. But yeah, I like Roblox. I like Lua.
Awesome. And then this is actually very relevant for your team. Gilham Garcia asked, is there a manual for beginners? Where should beginner developers start?
We should get this out to everyone. So we have a great guide that we can actually share. So I can share this with the event organizers, and we can get it out to you. It's called the Jumpstart Guide. We've authored it with our team.
And then C. Lulz asks, what is Roblox doing to help newer developers jumpstart organic discovery?
So I think what we want to do is make sure that we have a platform that aligns the correct audience with the correct content. And so, I think we're going to do a lot more moving forward. And I was actually just speaking to this team who does this. They want to provide you as much information as possible with kind of how Roblox works and how content is surfaced to players. And so if you build an incredibly engaging game that players really like, we want to make sure that that content is elevated and gets the appropriate audience that it should. This is a very challenging problem, honestly. Like, it's not very few platforms have really solved this, but I think we're making some great headway in making sure we provide enough information to you as a developer to allow you to kind of capitalize and grow content on Roblox. And also, hopefully we'll offer other options for acquiring users on the platform as well as organic.
Awesome. So we have about 10 more minutes for questions. So just a reminder, if you have any questions for Adam, please submit it before our 10 minutes is up. Anyway, so the next question is pretty similar to the last one, but if there's any further insights you want to give, Baude did ask, what are some good ways to get your game traction on Roblox?
Yeah, so I would say build an engaging game. So build a game that engages players, has high session times, a high number of sessions per day, and you want to retain players. You want to keep them coming back day over day. And so those signals for engaging content are really going to help your content be seen on the platform. So make it fun, make it fun for players. Really understand what players want on the platform. Really understand how to tap into those social aspects. And like, one thing I always tell developers to do is look at what's working, right? Go out on the platform, look for games with really high concurrent numbers, right? 20,000 concurrent users, 10,000 concurrent users, 100,000 concurrent users. Like, what are those games doing to drive all that traffic? And really trying to analyze the platform and analyze successes on the platform. And that's the first step in helping you understand. And so I would not only play the games, I would look at, what people are posting about those games on YouTube. Because players start to talk on those other channels about like what they like about these games. There's a lot of that going on with Roblox. Players love to like film themselves playing games and talk about them. And so I would first of all check out all the content, see what's working on the platform, and see if you can really start to understand what developers are doing to create those engaging experiences. But build a fun game, and that's the first step.
And then basically underscore Ren asks, what is your recommendation for game developers to not lose motivation?
So yeah, that's tough. Games are hard, right? Like I've seen some great ideas that just don't work, like and then they should. And so sometimes you can take it very personally that like I love this concept, I love this game, but no one wants to really play it, or a very small percentage of people really love it, and it's just not viable as a product, right? And so it's hard not to get discouraged by that. I will say it gets easier when you failed so many times, which I have as a game developer. You get very used to it and you don't take it as personally, but it is very hard not to get discouraged. Same thing with art. I mean, art is really hard to not get discouraged because you want to be your best, right? It's a reflection of who you are. The creative pursuits are kind of a reflection of who you are. But what I would say on Roblox is like I would treat it as, again, taking lots of shots on goal. Try a lot of ideas. Don't take it personally if those ideas aren't well received by your audience. Try something new. And don't be afraid to just abandon ideas if they're simply not working. I think that's incredibly important in games. You want to try a lot of stuff. You don't want to take failures too personally because, if you're doing it right, I think in games, you're trying a lot of things that you're just not sure will work. And that's okay.
Awesome. And then Turkey Muncher 9 asks, what is your basic level, or do you have any basic advice for an up and coming Roblox developer?
Yeah, I would try to take advantage of all the opportunities that Roblox has and what makes Roblox unique, right? So again, that lightning fast publishing time, the ability to build very, very quickly and cheaply. I think those are the true advantages for an up and coming new developer operating on this platform. So try to get as much content out as possible. Try to get as many ideas in front of players as possible, and double down on the ideas where that you feel are working. Right? Whether also like there's a difference between the core mechanic and the core loop of a game, like what the player actually does in the game, and the theme of the game, right? So it may be that a core mechanic itself is something that players really like to do. They like to play that game, but they don't love the theme. The theme just isn't right for Roblox. So, kind of changing core mechanics, getting different game ideas out there, but also changing theme on ideas that you feel could work, but maybe they're not the right theme. I think that's a really good way to start, and just build as much content as possible and get that content in front of players as quickly as possible. That would be my main advice. And again, you're on a platform where you can do that. That's very hard on mobile. Like when you have to wait a week to turn around to build, and then you have to pay for every single user. that you're going that even for test users, even if you want to test out content with just a small group, you have to pay for all those players, and the costs are really high. And yeah, you can just drive traffic into an experience on Roblox for very little.
All right, so last three questions before we wrap up our first workshop. But cat_212 asks, with the emergence of bigger and bigger development teams, do you see individual developers having a hard time growing on the platform in the coming years?
I mean, I don't see evidence for that, right? Like, so many of the experiences that pop off on Roblox every week seem to be built by very small teams, very indie developers. So I think it's still a very balanced platform, right? Whereas on platforms where paid user acquisition just dominates, like you have to have so much capital just to enter those markets that it's only big game teams or like teams that have considerable backing to afford to take those risks. You just don't see that on Roblox. And if you just, I mean, again, go look at the content that's achieving success. Most of that content is not built by big studios. Most of it's just built by little indies, right? And so I think there's a really good balance. And I think we have a lot more room for larger teams before we start to get off balance at all. So yeah, right now I'm not worried about it, but I do understand like people's worry that it's headed in that direction. But I think we want to make sure that a variety of developers can coexist on the platform, and it's still a great platform for many different types of developers.
So, on the contrary, aside from individual developers, no username asks, how do developers find other people to work in development and to ensure that you're able to work together
Yeah,
seamlessly?
yeah. Yeah, finding good co-developers is really tough on any platform. I mean, I had trouble in AAA, I had trouble in handheld, I had trouble in mobile. Yeah, finding the right people is hard. And I think my advice, number one, is just working with people. Try it out, right? I Again, if you're building small content, if you're building projects that don't take very long, kind of doing a test run with different co-developers is really helpful. That's how I really found the partners that I currently work with when I still develop content on the side. And But it took a long time. I don't have any specific advice for finding Roblox developers. I know there's a lot of communities that you can reach out to, and events like Connect 2023 is a great opportunity for that, and other conferences as well. But yeah, it's a process, and I think the only way you can really tell is to work together and do a small project together, see if it goes well, and then move on to someone else if not, or do another project together.
Alrighty, last question is from Karate Kind Say, can I create a realistic build in Roblox Studio?
Yeah, I mean, I think I showed an example of what can be done on Roblox. And just like on any platform, like high fidelity is going to take more time. High fidelity is going to be higher overhead, but the engine will certainly support it. I mean, I've seen some amazing experiences on the platform. And also keep in mind that like it's not only about fidelity and just like how many polygons are in a mesh or how big the textures are. Also great design resonates with people too. There are a lot of great indie games that wouldn't be called high fidelity, but they just have a beautiful point of view regarding their design, and it's very consistent. And ultimately, they're incredibly beautiful games. So I wouldn't conflate like high fidelity with just really, high end graphics. I would also look at games that are just art forms in themselves with how they look and how consistent they are in their vision as a game. So yeah, hopefully helps. I can
Awesome.
talk about art all day.
Well, thanks, Adam. It's a wrap for this workshop. And then stay tuned for our next workshop. It is with CJ Oyer, and he will be talking about 25 ways switching to Rojo will improve your experience. Wow, that was a mouthful. It'll be today at 11 a.m. PST. But before you all leave, we are having, you can come join us in our experience. It's the Connect 23 hub. We'll put up a QR code for the experience, but come join us, network with other people, and win some free accessories. All right, so thank you all, and we'll see you there shortly.
Thank you very much.